Hello. All right, it works. Let's get this one going. And that one going. Hello and happy day to everybody out there. How are you doing? Hello around the world. What's up with you? Hope you slept well. Hope you're having a good evening or whatever time it is. I'm Touring News, and I'm finally beginning a new segment that I've been talking about doing, wanting to do, and some variety thinking about for a very long time. I'm going to be calling the new segment Talks with Touring. The concept that I have for the new podcast or conversation that we're going to be having is I want to reach out to different people either in Twitch, in science, in politics, in medicine, in garbage removal, in recycling, in whatever industry that you think you work in that you want to chat about, and let me know kind of what you find is topically important, what you look into in current affairs, how you go about like your life, whatever you want to talk about. So it's going to be a broadcast where we bring a guest on or two guests on, and they are the runners of the show. I'm kind of just here to keep everything in line, keep everything going on like a smooth program, and that is how the show is going to be. So, the first person that we are going to be having on the show is a streamer that I found early when I began broadcasting on Twitch. His name is SwiftGlassEater. I'll do a little shout out for him in my chat right there. He is a business streamer, a philosophy streamer, and just like an awesome person who plays some games too, and really has helped me find like my way in Twitch. So I am about to bring him into the video, and we're gonna begin Talks with Touring, Episode 1, Swift Glass Eater, right now. And we are live.
Well, hello, hello. Welcome back.
Hello. Welcome to you too. Is this Swift Glass Eater?
It is, it is. I've been sitting here waiting for you, buddy. I saw your text. Thank you for the heads up. Make sure nobody caught me picking my nose or grooming myself for anything on here.
Awesome, awesome. So welcome and thank you so much for being the first person on like the new segment and on the new program that I wanted to do. I appreciate you using some of your time today to do this.
For sure, man. I've been observing what you've been doing here, seeing your growth, seeing your objective of sharing as unbiased truth as possible. I've been a big supporter of what you've been working on, so I'm more than happy to carve out some time to have a chat with you here.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you. What do you think that we need to know like a little bit about you? I can try to do like a brief like little description. Some things that I know about Swift are he was a rambunctious individual who kind of liked to kick shins when he was younger, and like you got misguided a little bit. And then at a very early point in your 20s, you were kind of introduced to a mentor, or you met a mentor who began to like deliver hard truths to you. Is this somewhat near accurate?
Yeah, yeah. Can't dispute any of that.
And then after like working with the mentor, you really began to just like learn about how you can grow as a person, how you can like work better, or what all. Yeah, let's start a little bit wherever you want.
Okay, so you're kind of looking to start down the path of the mentorship. Is that where you want to start?
What do you think would be the most important thing to start with if you had to do if this was your last podcast that you could ever do? Where would you want it to begin?
All right. I guess we'll share. We'll start. Obviously have an interest there, so we'll kind of summarize. What I'm doing now and the path that led there. So again, my name is Joe Bryant or Swift Glass Eater, depending on what you want to go by. I'm an entrepreneur. I haven't had a 9 to 5 job in about 11 years now. Entrepreneur, investor, thanks to a series of mentors that have taught me a lot over the years. I'm also a Twitch streamer. I stream gaming sessions, and I stream just chatting sessions where I'm working from home and sharing marketing tips and the philosophy and tactics that have helped me make money, just to try and contribute value to other people who might be hanging out with me while I'm getting some work done. Go ahead.
No, that is awesome. I'm just listening in and doing one or two
Okay.
things here in the background.
I got you. So I got to this point by, as you said, I was you put it very kindly, very kindly. I was a rambunctious young man. I was making terrible decisions pretty consistently. I mean, on a large scale, very consistently.
Do
And
you Was there anything that you did that was like irreversible, or like you could atone for like most of the
I suspect
transgressions?
my attorney would advise me from going in too
Okay.
far into details, but
Okay.
yeah, there were some things that had my community speaking. um, so yeah, I was pretty much a shithead for a good portion of my life there, living a very selfish, masturbatory lifestyle focused on pleasuring myself through food, drink, substances, mischief,
Was
and
there anything like, not to like pry like too deep into your childhood, was there anything that like set you on that path, like outside of just normal American growing up? Is this something that people need to like worry about their children going down the path, even if they have like a good like family parenting style?
um,
And I'm just gonna say one thing to the chat really quick. If you have anything that you want to say to me or Swift, just add us. I'm not gonna be reading too much of the chat unless there's added questions directly at us, just so like our conversation can kind of like flow and go. But 100%, if you have any kind of questions or interjections or anything that anybody wants to chime in here with, please type them into us.
yeah, and on that note, I'm actually going to bring up the stream as well so I can keep up.
Okay, nice. Yeah, so is there a worry that parents should have about preventing their kids from going down that path? Or like is it how do you
I
feel
would
about
say,
that?
I was left to my own devices too often as a kid, and without proper guidance and direction, and having, I was a fairly logical kid, I suppose. If people explained things to me, and if an explanation made sense, I would stop. But if I didn't understand something, I would just do whatever the hell I wanted. And so I suppose just a little more direction would have been useful. And that's kind of
You are 34?
31.
31. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so I'm
Yes,
29.
sir.
So I was just thinking of like, was a lot of this parental, I don't want to call it negligence, but like the giving of kids like to video games and to technology and that kind of stuff. Do you think that's one of the things like contributing to the absent parenting?
I would say that's more of a tool used by absent parents than a cause, but uh, that's just a tool utilized. But parents were more than capable of being neglectful prior to technology as well.
Hmm.
So I would say it's more of a symptom than a cause of the problem. Yeah, okay, sarcasm. Children need boundaries. Agreed. We have daughters now. My lovely lady and I, we have daughters, and we definitely have some firm boundaries. So obviously, I made some bad choices. I got into a lot of trouble with the law, and it occurred to me I had a moment of epiphany because I hung out with a older crowd for the most part. Kind of guys who like to hang out with young kids and get drunk and high. Imagine that, right? And I remember we were celebrating a guy's birthday party, and everybody's having some beers, passing the herb around, having a good time. Everybody's like, "Yeah, bro, happy birthday, man! Can't believe you're 30." And I'm like, woke up and like, wait, kind of snapped to, and started looking around, and I'm like, this guy shares this small, smelly apartment with four other dudes, and like all his worldly belongings are behind this shitty couch that I'm sitting on. He has all his like duffel bag tucked back there and lives on the couch. And I'm like, is this where I'm going? Like, is this where I'm gonna be?
Mm. I went
And
that. I
I
think
was
I
like,
went that way.
so I was like, holy shit, it is. And I wanted to move. I didn't know anybody in Chicago. I just went to Chicago. I was 21, 22, and I just started. I took jobs there, a couple jobs, and I started like looking up on different online forums, like business networking things, whatever going on near me, and that's where I ended up meeting my first mentor. So I met my first mentor. Hey, Natomate, what's up, Natomate? Good to see you in here, brother. So that's where I met my
How old
first
were you when
mentor.
you met your first mentor?
21 going on 22.
Okay. Um, this was this was something that I was like thinking about early. Well, it's I've been thinking about it on the mentor topic, and it's a weird topic of a question to ask. Um, has the growing awareness about pedophilia push like people away from becoming mentors like to the youth? Or like is there any kind of reason that mentorship has gone down in, at least in my opinion? Like it's really difficult to find a mentor or to find a guidance counselor, to find like somebody to help. Is there anything about like that that like disconnect where adults don't really speak to like the teens who are really like the at risk anymore?
I'd say there's not one simple answer to that. I'd say you're correct in what you mentioned, as well as a few other factors. Native Mate, thank you for the kind words. Appreciate you, brother. Um, but yeah, I would say fear of social repercussion from some kind of perceived sexual advance. Hey, Miller, what's good, brother? What's good? Good to see you in here, man. Um, I would say, though, you're spot on with that. I would say there's less people who have, if there be less people being mentored, and there's less people even, understanding the concept. I didn't even know what the fuck this guy meant when he first proposed being my mentor. I'm like, what does that even mean? And it was a foreign concept to me. So I think there's less just general awareness about it. I think a lot of mentors are also, they're not just gonna like pick any random person. They're looking for someone who's like out there trying, maybe trying and failing, but displaying some unique trait. And I think we have too many people who are not trying today.
Were there many times, I guess this is the important question, were you approached by mentors or any kind of counselors before you accepted the one finally? Like from, teen to 21. Did you have any opportunities or possibilities that you maybe missed out on, or you didn't even find many?
I mean, yeah, of course, if I'm making bad decisions, I'm obviously missing a ton of
Right.
opportunities. My poor behavior cost me, I can't tell you how many opportunities. And I had a few, like school counselors try to get to the bottom of my bad behavior and tell me like, oh, you could do so much more. And I was your typical stubborn kid, like, what do you know?
Were you
Life
kind of like
means nothing.
white coat syndrome against them? You were just like your authority, I can't like trust you kind of thing? Is that how you were
Yeah,
against like the counselors?
I don't even know if I would put that much thought into it. I suppose I was just a stubborn little shithead.
I would, yeah.
Down to.
Whenever you and I have spoken, I've tried to think back through the times of the people that offered me guidance or mentoring or counseling, and there's only, I would say, like 2 or 3 people that I remember like during my high school years, from like age like 13 to 17 or 18, and then during college years, it was just a free for all of nobody out there, and no like easy routes to like even find mentorship. Like, is there like a website that you can go to, or?
If there is, I don't know about it. I'm sure
Okay.
there is, but it's not just something like Tinder where you can just match and mentor. Like, let me just get my mentor on real quick and move on. Like.
Oh yeah, you're so
it's
right.
something. It's something where there's got to be an understanding between the two, a certain dynamic, a certain power dynamic, and yet level of understanding, like a balance between the two. Like my mentor, he was so hard on me so many times. I mean, he verbally tore me to shreds so many times. And with having a background in martial arts, I'm looking at this guy like, I could beat your ass, man. No one talks to me like that. But then I have to realize, like, that's my ego, that's my arrogance speaking up, and that maybe I should shut the fuck up and listen to somebody smarter than me. And that's where a lot of things started to go better for me in that regard.
Our friend Sarcasm asked a question. I am not mentoring anybody. I do know that SwiftGlass mentors many people. I actually don't mind like quoting that his number is maybe even in the 50 to 100 range, just because of like business work that he's done. So yeah, how many? I know that you do some active mentoring now, and I know you've done passive mentoring in the past before. So I don't know if you wanted to skip ahead to like some of that, or kind of continue through like how things changed after you got this guidance and what you like started to do.
Okay. Yeah, I am mentoring people. Excuse my sarcasm, and we'll just kind of continue on with the narrative as it is, because that becomes a big part of the story here anyway. So I met my mentor. And again, I was a rough around the edges kid. He was giving me harsh shit all the time. And all right, so I guess I should talk about our first meeting. Our first meeting was, I went to this, I scrolling through different meetup meetup.com, like different business networking things. I put on the nicest shirt I own, and I start going to these things. And I'm like, hi, I'm Joe. I don't really know what I'm doing here. Just trying to meet new people and do something fucking different than what I've done before.
I will
Everyone
only
else I used
interrupt.
to know.
I'll only interrupt you one time. Speaking of Joe, this is Joseph Bryant, by the way, and this book in the background is his book. So the reason for the background today is the first book that SwiftGlassEater or Joe wrote. So if you're wondering what the background is, or wanted to look it up at all, or figure out a way that you could get a copy of the book or something, that's what it is in the background. Go ahead. I wanted people to know context of the background.
Appreciate it, brother. And so meeting my first mentor, he asked me like, "What are you doing here?" He's like, "Are you buying into this company?" I'm like, "No, I don't have any money for it." I was just trying to meet new people. Everybody else I knew, all they did is party. So obviously that's not what I'm working out for me. So I'm trying to meet new people. He's kind of stared at me. He's like, "Huh? What do you think about me being your mentor and you being my apprentice?" I'm like, "Fuck. What does that even mean?" And he kind of explained to me like, "I'll teach you some things. You can hang out with me. We'll go over some business stuff and see where it takes us." And I asked him, I was like, "How much does it pay?" He said, "Nothing. I'll teach you how to make your own money." And I was like, all my instincts are screaming at me like, "Don't do it, don't do it." I was like, "I need to be paid now. I need to make money now." But I'm like, fuck. I was like, what? Everything else that I've been doing has not been working out. So sure, yeah, man. He's like, "Can we just meet for lunch tomorrow and talk?" And I said, "All right." So we met for lunch, and he kind of summarized what kind of business he's into, what he's got going on. He's in mortgage, real estate, had a small construction business, different investments, and how he wanted to help me build a roofing company with him. And the roofing company was his smallest endeavor at the time, and it was just him, myself, based out of his garage. Miller, what did your physical appearance change? Oh man, yeah, I got a good story about that. One of the first times I hung out with my mentor, and he wanted me to partner with him to build this roofing company and share in the profit. I'm not guaranteed anything. How did you live with no money when you did it? Not easily, bro. Not easily. I did little hustle side gigs to pay the occasional bill. Did what I had to. And then I went without. I sold everything. Like everything that was non-essential, I sold. I used to pride myself. And this was kind of when I began a path to minimalism. I used to pride myself in the size of my anime collection and all the games I had. And then I realized that I wanted to make it in this business more than I wanted that stuff. So I sold everything. I had some money. I lived very frugally, and then I fucking busted ass. I got hustling, and changed my life. And
Speaking of the live frugally thing, I moved to Philadelphia April 12th, and I haven't been back to Bloomsburg, where I moved from, to get all of my stuff. So I came down here with like one of my very big backpacks and just like a couple of other like little things. So there isn't really that much that the human really requires to live like day to day, week to week, month to month, in my opinion, to your minimalism approach.
Agreed. And and I'll talk a little bit more about this later, but just kind of give you guys a teaser. Entrepreneurship and making money is what helped me learn about myself that I'm a minimalist. But I can talk a little bit more about that later. Love of God, Miller asked if my physical appearance changed. My mentor, just to give you guys an example of the fucking brutal sessions I had with my mentor. One of the first times we hung out after our lunch, and he said, "Okay, I'm going to pick you up. We're going to ride around in my truck. You're going to come to meetings with me. You're going to shut up and listen while I talk to people, close deals, and discuss it." And he comes to pick me up. And I get in his truck, and he kind of like leans on the side of his door. He kind of looks at me top to bottom. Mind you, I'm in my early 20s. I've got my hair grown out a little bit. I've got earrings in. I've got wristbands on. I've got a sleeveless t-shirt. I have tattoos exposed. Cargo shorts and sneakers. And he's just looking at me, and he's just like shaking his head. He's like, "How old are you again?" I was like, "Oh, I just turned 22. And he's like, "So what, do you think you're fucking cool or something?" And I'm like, "Kinda." And he's like, "Yeah, how much is that getting you paid?" And I was like, "Well, nothing." And he told me, he's like, "Can you dress like a fucking adult for me tomorrow?" Yes. Yeah. You know.
I hear the way that this mentor coached you, and I know that you're a tough love advocate. Is that correct? Like
Correct.
okay. Do you? Well, I've got maybe a couple questions about that one. I actually wrote one down. Does tough love always work? One was the question, and two, if it doesn't always work, maybe did it always used to work? Like, has something changed where tough love approach doesn't work as well as it once did?
It's hard for me to say because obviously I'm limited by my perspective and bias. Because for me, it worked on me, and then I've seen it work with the people that I've mentored over the years. But I also understand that there's people who, I don't know. I know all I can say for certain. I know there's a lot of people who run from it.
Hmm.
I'm hesitant to say that they can't grow or gain knowledge through other ways. Maybe they need someone with a softer touch. Find a mentor with a softer touch. You know, I think that's part of pairing up the good mentor and apprentice is finding styles of people that can work together.
Hmm.
You know, for instance, I work well with people like myself who are seeking a redemption story, so to speak. Someone who's made mistakes in the past and wants so badly to change their life
Is this
drastically
is
in a
this why you
positive
hang
way.
is this why you hang out on my channel?
I just
Um,
do we resonate as kindred spirits on that,
yeah,
touring?
I never really had like the big like legal run-ins, but my neglect came from just being not a good like contributor to society, not doing any kind of like good work, not using what I believe is like a good brain that I was given with, not doing any kind of social work, not doing any kind of activism work, not doing any charity work. I was doing like what you said. I was just living a singular pleasure, me seek lifestyle. Um,
Yeah.
and it took me to like the darkest places that I like had ever been. I had done a lot by the time I was like 26 or 27, and then it was just like, well, damn, but what did I do with it? Like what good have I like done because of it? And I kind of felt that a lot of my choices were just me being wanting to do fun.
Yeah, I can absolutely relate to that, man. That was a big motivator for me as a youthful asshole.
Hmm.
But then, as I carried on my journey there with my mentor, my first season, I went from barely getting by. Like, and to give you guys an example, like I grew up with no money. I mean, I know what it's like to wander around grabbing. Because in Michigan, you get 10 cents per aluminum can, and there's nothing wrong with fun. Right? Lots of fun. um, I know what it's like in Michigan to wander around and grab cans to return to get small amounts of food. So I know what it's like to be without. And that first season of making some money, hedonistic lifestyles for the win, right? Um, it was my first time making some money, and it kind of gave me some perspectives on things. I don't, this is where I began to learn my tendency towards minimalism. I'd always thought I didn't have much because I was poor, and that's just the way it was. That wasn't by choice. And then the first time I had good money, my first good season out there selling roofs, I paid my rent in advance, paid off all my debts, and then I had about $30,000 left over in profit. I'm like, holy shit.
Wow.
Yeah, at 22 years old, everything paid off, rent paid in advance, and just like I would just look at my bank account, like, whoa, you know?
At
And
22, I was not in that position.
yeah, it was changed everything. So I withdrew like $8,000 in cash, and I wandered around looking to spend money. And everything I went and looked at, I was like, this is cool. I don't really need it. This is nifty. Like I don't think I would see myself using it. Just like
Where,
I,
you're very disciplined in this approach. How do we avoid conditioning children to get into the like the dopamine fix and the I always want to be like happy fix? Like I do believe that you're a person that believes it's okay to be down at times. Is that correct?
I mean, what do you mean it's okay to be
Like
down?
like emotion, like sometimes you are sad, sometimes you might even be, I would say, like, I don't want to say borderline depressed, but like it's normal to go through a gamut of emotions and not expect to be always pleasuring yourself or always happy. I guess it's more the pleasuring yourself, not the happy thing. I kind of answered
Yeah,
it myself there.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
I'd say that sounds about right.
but I worry that like we promote the materialism so much that like in order for you, I feel it's really difficult for people to break out of consumerism and materialism the way that you did. I don't think that it's typical or natural for people to break out.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's up to. I think it's up to the individual because I used to be very anti-material. After I started taking a minimalist stance, I kind of started, and this is where I began to learn to be less judgmental about what brings other people happiness. Because I used to scoff, like these people like material items, and they don't understand. Like get off my intellectual lofty high horse here
Hmm.
for a moment and think that maybe things just to give you the example that really opened my eyes. My mentor, he's a good deal more materialistic than I am. Like he makes fantastic money. It shows he loves things, but he loves meaning behind things. Like he has a whole storage unit rented out just for unique Michael Jordan memorabilia.
Mm.
And the first time he showed it to me, wanted to show it off to me, I was immediately jumping to judgments in my head like, this fool, blah blah blah. Um, and but then he started taking each piece and like explaining to me like what it meant to him, how it inspired him as a kid, how Michael Jordan's greatness and having a piece of it inspires him, and it was part of his childhood dream, and he contributes part of his success to being influenced by Michael Jordan. I'm like, so to me, from my lens, from my perspective of the world, this is all just junk and a waste of time. But to him, like this means a lot more. This was really significant to him, and maybe I should cool my jets on judging. You know where we material items don't mean much to me, but if they mean that much to him, then who am I to pass a judgment on that?
Hmm.
So that's
I think I
where
have
I
a
began
I
to.
think I have a little bit of a differing opinion about that one. I think it's okay to have like material item to like a point, but if you are just amassing a collection over like something that you kind of know, like what would be the benefit of getting like the ninth Michael Jordan item after the eighth? I would wonder when is the diminishing law of returns via like misplacing capital and hoarding versus like actually just keeping items because like they have a good value to you.
I mean, obviously, I can't. I struggle to even understand why someone wanted to have that stuff anyway.
Yeah. Well, I can okay,
So
so I can first and foremost understand why. Like Michael Jordan was one of the hardest working athletes of all time. Like he was a good gym rat. He like worked everywhere, etc., etc., etc. So I can understand wanting a few pieces of his like sweat or articles or something because like you can have it near you and you can look at it and be like, man, like I'll bet you when Mike was tired, like he didn't care. He just kept working. So I very much get having a few pieces of memorabilia as motivation. I think that that's like a thing amongst collectors of history. Um, I do worry, like when you said that it's like an entire storage unit. That was all.
yeah, he does have a storage unit of it, but
Yeah.
I mean, again, I'm inclined to not approve of it, but when I saw what it meant to him and his face when he talked about it, it was enough to make me think like, hey, maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I should just let people enjoy what they're doing. I don't know,
Hmm. I
but
think
it was
sarcasm just said something really good. One thing to do is to strive to teach children to seek internal validation, not external validation. You really don't want to overly praise children. That teaches them to tie their happiness to others. Yeah, I am so happy that I do not have a child because I do not know what I would expose the. Oh God, that sounds horrible. What ideas I would expose the child to
phrasing, sir.
at what age? Like at what age do you like burst like an innocence bubble? At what age do you begin to share truth? Do you Yeah, there are so many pitfalls for the modern parent I think that it's well, praise to anybody that's a parent out there. Yeah.
Yeah, we have two daughters.
Yeah, I don't know how people do it. Um, anyway, back to where we were. He had this collection he showed you, and then
Yeah, and that was just kind of where I was trying to be a little more understanding of people who place value more materialistic items and understand that, hey, it's not for me, and that's cool. But there are people who are into things, and that's great for them, I suppose, as long as it's not overwhelming, unbalanced in their life. As long as they're not if they're harming themselves and their family financially through purchasing things like an addictive behavior. But if it's someone who is doing well and would like to spend some money on purchasing their Michael Jordan memorabilia, then
mhm.
by all means. But for me, like, it was kind of the beginning of the realization that I'm a minimalist, and then it began to take me down a series of thoughts like, well, why do I enjoy participating in entrepreneurship so much beyond, I could just make a few sales and call it good per month.
I feel that if I had a long conversation with you, I could put you into anti-materialism again. I think I'd be able to figure out a couple of like negative aspects of it, um, to be able to bring you back onto my side of it, as I am a pretty anti-material person. Um, so you are a Montessori training and CDA in early childhood development. You can help with these questions. Okay, thank you, sarcasm. Yeah, so I derailed us back to wherever you were, Swift. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Where was I?
I think we spoke about how you first got your mentor, how your appearance changed, and then I asked you the questions about like tough love, because like
Okay.
and that's where maybe we should come back to, like with mentoring and with advising people, we can even make the analogy of like diets, okay? Like a diet that works for you might not work for me because we have different biology. I don't know what the proper term is.
Right.
But same for mentoring. Mentoring that works for you might not work for sarcasm, might not work for husky, might not work for Nada. It might not. So it's really, there is no one pill for everybody. Um,
Agreed.
yeah, so if you were to tell a person to look for a mentor right now that wasn't you, how would you advise them to go find a mentor? Where would you tell them to look?
I would say look for business conventions, business networking meetings near me, and just go and wander, shake hands, say hi to people, just say you're looking to meet new people, see where it takes you, and that's the beginning to put you in a right stratosphere. I've also found there's a lot of useful online forums via Reddit and Facebook for entrepreneurs. I mean, there's entrepreneurs out there looking to find the right people to apprentice.
Hmm.
There's people out there looking. I'm always looking as well, and they're out there, but you gotta put yourself out. You gotta dangle the bait a little bit.
Uh, Nada mate, do you mind me asking how old you are? I don't. If it's too personal, I apologize. But when you said you've never had a mentor, it just made me think. I've never had one either. I thought that I was gonna have one, and then I ended up working for them, and well, I can't. I actually cannot even speak much about it. So I did care work for elderly people, and I'm not allowed to because of like HIPAA speak about like a lot of my experiences there. But I did live with a person that I took care of for like 900 days. About like it was like live-in care work for from age like 22 and a half to age 25 and a half. So I kind of thought that this person was going to be my mentor, and then I ended up being their caregiver, um, which was a big like shaping thing like in my life. Nate says, "Why would someone want to mentor an apprentice?" You can answer that one, I think, Swift.
Gotcha, bud. All right, Nate, mate. Why would someone want to mentor an apprentice? Um, it's got to be mutually beneficial. There's got to be benefit to it. Can't be charity. Cannot be charity. Um, so that it's good. There's those of us who want to pass on our skills and teachings to more than doesn't have to be biological children. There are those of us who want to see more people do well. There's room for everybody. There's those of us who want to see as many people as possible do well.
I might jump in right here. because I 100% agree with you. And this has been my philosophy or strategy, like on Twitch, like a little bit with some of the people that are either beginning streaming or like smalling streaming or whatever. I want to develop like a good network of people that are pushing good content and education content in the thinking of if I connect with them early and either they grow or I grow or something, it can kind of be a shared growth. Um, so this is why I've reached out to some people like Brento Box or Salad 200, Penguin, the Cynthiad. There's a lot of people on Twitch that are now getting into news delivery, politics chat, science conversations, etc., etc. And I kind of want to build that into like a bigger team. So I guess maybe I have tried to. I don't know, Swift. Maybe like you've motivated me a little bit to maybe try like some mentoring activities. Um, but I do like reaching out to the other people in the Twitch sphere and kind of trying to work together, like you said. And I think there's mutual benefit.
Agreed. Agreed. Absolutely, man. And you have a great platform to do it, and I see no reason why you cannot successfully. So you're obviously a sharp guy who means well, and I see zero reason why you could not successfully contribute value to the lives of people,
Yeah,
lives
thank
of
you.
others.
Yeah, thank you. That's I actually it was weird when I also began to believe that. Um, because it was like it's the believing like in your own mind that you can like use your mind for good. Like
Dude,
because a lot of people
yes.
like work.
Preach it.
Yeah,
Preach it.
it's a hard thing to swallow because I'm not like trained in any of the endeavors or anything. I'm just a person, you know. So yeah, it was difficult to accept. And so sarcasm just mentioned something. There's an educational group on Twitch. They're educators that stream. It's called the Knowledge Fellowship. Yeah, Uncle Bill Druin has been like a good person to me from there, and Florian Boron. So there have been a couple of Knowledge Fellowship people that stop in here, and I'm hoping someday maybe they'll think that I'm good enough to be one of their educational streamers.
There you go. I'm sure that's only a matter of time, man.
Yeah.
But as for what Natomate, what you're asking, why would someone want to mentor an apprentice? Let me give the best analogy I can. So imagine that there's an insurmountable obstacle course. You cannot reach the top by yourself. But if you were to have a boost with somebody, you could. So a mentor is someone who you're willing to say, you know what, step on my back. You can get up higher off my labor, off my back. But then when you get up there, I reach up and you pull me with you.
I agree.
All
I
right.
agree.
And then repeat the process. So, at the time in the beginning, I was my mentor's bitch, you guys. I was running his errands. I was taking shit from him. I mean, not without reason, of course, but he was testing me a little bit. And as I grew as a person, as I began to contribute more to the company, as he began to respect me more, we started to we started to get people underneath me who were my first few people I was mentoring, my first few apprentices, and it was very mutually beneficial. We continued that dynamic, that relationship, to a point where um, I began to go off on my own. I made him a lot of money in the process, grew his company to heights he'd never seen before, and then it was time for me to go on my own. And then there's people who I had mentored who helped me with my business, helped me grow significantly, made themselves good money along the way. And then they get to a point where they're like, hey, you know what? It's time for me to split off my own. And blessings to them, like, please do. I love keeping up on these guys, seeing young people whose lives I've influenced now have families that they're taking care of, and young apprentices of their own who are now living well, doing well, stimulating the economy. I mean, creating jobs for our roof installers. I mean, it's amazing to see, and I'm very appreciative for the opportunity to participate in that.
Sarcasm said, it sounds a bit like servant leadership. What do you think about that?
Um, what is that concept again? It's like
Oh, there it
okay,
is.
there, thank you.
It's a leadership philosophy in which the main goal of the leader is to serve. This is different from traditional leadership, where the leader's main focus is the thriving of their company or organizations. A servant leader shares power. Wow. Okay, well, I really like this one. I was gonna actually make like a very recent example of how I wasn't necessarily trying to mentor a person, but I was I don't know. Is trying to bring a Twitch streamer up in popularity mentoring a person? I don't know if it is or isn't. But anyway,
Helping anybody accomplish any worthwhile goal they're looking to do, I would consider as positive mentoring.
okay. Well, an example is I went into Salad2 OO's channel. I linked in his Twitch right here. He's a person who's trying to get his affiliate status. He has like 20 some followers. He just started on Twitch or whatever. And I went in one night at 1:45 in the morning. It was Saturday night, 1:45 Eastern Standard Time. I was supposed to go to bed, but I was just going around the people doing like politics and Twitch and all this kind of stuff. And I started a conversation with Salad. We like started talking a little bit. He asked me my political views, and I said I can't. One, I'm tired. Two, I can't type them out like on a keyboard. So I linked him my 9 axes test, which was on my stream. I took a 216 question politics test in front of everybody to determine like where I am politically. So I gave it to him. He looked at it. He was like, I want to take this test. Like, how many is it? And he like found it. He took the shorter one. He took the 46 question test. So I ended up staying with him until about 3:15 in the morning, and we had like a really just like awesome conversation. Fast forward to the next day, I'm doing my stream and I'm just like kind of hanging out. He comes in, he subscribed in my channel. He said, "I like, what you're doing. I like what you're trying to do. It's like really cool. I had a good time." I kind of told him that he could advertise in my Discord because I wanted to help him get to the affiliate status and all that kind of stuff. And then last night I was having a conversation. I don't even remember. I don't know what the topic was. But I asked him if he wanted to come into the Discord. So he came to the Discord with me. We probably talked for, I don't know, like an hour and a half or 2 hours on Discord. Coupe de Jour, another person, came in here. He joined the Discord. And then out of nowhere, Salad gifted Coupe a sub to my channel because he was like, oh, I saw that Coupe wasn't subscribed, so I thought that he should be. So this was just like a very small example of how me kind of wanting to go out and, like you said, Swift, maybe do the networking. Like on Twitch, you can't really just like, well, you can. You can go into anybody's channel and you can start to
For
network.
sure.
We were talking about speech and hate crimes. Yeah, there you go. I didn't know if that was what we started on when Salad came in, or if that was what we mostly spoke about, Coop. But yeah, thank you for that. And yeah, I think that like, I don't know, you've done that with me. You come and you help me out a lot, and it makes me like know fact if I ever make it anywhere, I want to bring you like along with if I can. And that's why I wanted you to be like the first person on the new segment. You gave me like a lot of motivation and like a lot of belief in like doing what I'm doing going forward. It is tough. Like I struggle off stream like with just getting exasperated that it's like hard to share ideas and that kind of stuff. But yeah, the willingness of other people to just be like, "Hey, you're doing fine, keep it up." That little bit is enough.
And you're kind of segueing into another topic that what I'm calling lately my campaign of encouragement is, to try to not just be supportive and like people's stuff, but to, as you described, to communicate that you can do it,
Hmm.
to follow up,
Now, I
just
will
support
I
people.
will put a caveat in there for you. I don't think that you support people when you don't think that they can succeed or you don't think they're doing something good. Is this true?
Oh, of course, of course. I'm not going to encourage somebody to run in place.
Okay. But there could be people that
That's
could
not
misconstrue.
kindness.
Yeah, there could be people that could twist your words and hear like, oh, he's
Yeah,
encouraging everybody. Like, I
yeah,
just want it to be known that from what I've seen, I believe that you encourage when you think it's appropriate, when you think it's a good project, and like when you would say, like you would be proud of it. Is that actually the biggest one?
yeah. I mean, I'm a fan of tough love. So if someone
Hmm.
needs to hear something a little rough, I'm not shy to give it. But when encouragement is if someone is doing something good and it has, seems to be showing value and positive influence in their lives, and even the lives of others, man, I don't see enough encouragement from people out there in the world.
I
And I'm
100%
sure
agree with that.
anybody
I
in here.
100 cancel culture and just well, okay, so Twitter. Like, let's start with like the condensing of language in order to convey an idea, right? When you're on Twitter and you're trying to have communications, It's better to get a reactionary content piece to get retweeted, and reactionary often isn't encouraging, if you would agree with that part.
Yeah, yeah,
I think some of the differences in social media interaction are kind of what's pushing people to be, well, when you're behind a screen, it's a lot easier to insult,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. There's definitely plenty of that, and you see that in comment section of any political article, or you see it in, I mean, anywhere people can type words online, apparently. You get people spouting vague, ideological statements that they can neither prove nor disprove. You get two sides shouting things they don't actually know themselves, just vomiting forth talking points that they've heard others vomit forth online, and then both act like they just like flexed on each other intellectually, like just I don't know what the hell is taking place in terms of discourse on the internet these days. At times I observe some interactions, just like, what do these people think just happened here?
I was in a Discord and somebody made a comment, and then the following comment was almost quote, "I cannot wait to dunk on both sides of this conversation." And I was just thinking, like, okay,
The audacity.
one, I don't even think it's good to dunk on a side per se. But two, if you're dunking on both sides, like what are you actually providing? Right, logorrhea, verbal diarrhea. What are you actually providing to the conversation there if all you're doing is going to dunk on both sides?
And it kind of goes back to a masturbatory lifestyle, man. There's a lot of people who espouse fantastic sounding ideologies, but they don't actually do things for people, and it just gives them that momentary feel good online of posturing as someone who is incredibly positive or helpful and making them feel momentarily intellectually superior without risking face-to-face contact or having their ideas further tested or poked at. And I think it's very unhealthy for discourse in general, because a lot of us begin to tune each other out now
Yes.
when there's so much nonsensical vitriol. Like how many of us just tend to like see a wall of words and begin to roll our eyes mentally, like, oh, here we go.
Hmm.
It's because people spew out such volume of nonsense, in my opinion.
Yeah. Sarcasm just said it. He remembered it was about deplatforming. He was interested in hearing the dunks, but the dunks never happened. Yeah, I don't know. Those Discord channels sometimes get so. Man, I know that you're not in some of them that I'm in, but literally, like, if you miss an hour, you miss like 70 comments that are just like, oh, it gets
the,
dogpiling and it's intense over there.
you, you miss an hour of conversation, and the interior political climate has shifted of the Discord server, and you have new alliances formed and
Yeah,
radical opinions thrown out, and somebody is now ostracized or something. I don't know.
we're not gonna go like down into I like basketball. I'm not gonna go down this like topic. I don't have any desire to today. But I was for hate speech laws when I first started streaming on Twitch. I was against them for like a month and a half, and then last night I changed my position like 3 times during one stream as to
Oh
whether or
man.
not I wanted them. So yeah, it's so just even from that way, like I can have like my opinion. I think. How do you feel about people that like change their political opinion?
I would say we all tend to change them over time, sooner or later. I mean,
Yeah,
very few people maintain the exact same opinions over their whole lives, so
I agree.
we're always taking in new information.
I agree.
I would say, I mean, there should be a balance. I mean, you take in new logical information, opinions should change, but if you're just switching sides at whoever is the most charismatic speaker at that moment, then maybe you need to do a little self-analysis.
Just because I've been having this thought, I do want to share this one to anybody out there. Wouldn't it be nice if our representative of where we lived on their website would give us the ability to vote on whatever bill that they had to vote on, just to see what the people within his region would want to choose if they were the ones that actually had the vote and the choice? What do you think about that, Swift?
It sounds nice if it could be enacted effectively. Tamper-proof.
I don't think it would be too tough. It would just require them to have like a website and a straw poll. I mean, like, you can have a straw poll in Twitch chat. So if a representative is ever forced to vote on something, they could just give their constituents a straw poll, see what their constituents think, make a statement to the constituents about why I am in favor of your position, why I'm not in favor of your position, and then kind of move forward. I think it would be a nice like addition to transparency.
Yeah, I mean, if enacted effectively, it absolutely
Right.
could.
Right. I think that we have done a lot of your why you like to mentor, how people mentored you. Did you want to do any more speaking about like different businesses that you opened and have like been a part of? Do you feel that that's like a nice like route to go into? Because I know that you said you were with like a small company and then it grew and then it grew and then it grew and then you found that you were beginning to become a leader of people. So maybe it's maybe talk about like that like role of moving from mentee to mentor.
Okay, yeah, we'll complete the saga then. Let us complete the saga. So I went from being the awkward right hand of this guy. I mean, I'd go to meetings with him. I'd go and watch him close large deals, and we'd sit in his truck afterwards. And he'd ask me, "Okay, what happened in there? Why did they say no? Why did they say yes? What are they thinking at this time? Why did I bring up, he would analyze and dissect negotiations with them moments after they occurred. So I spent years hanging with him. We grew a business, and then I grew my team, and it got to a point where I was no longer his awkward right hand kid, but I was, the rising star. He would introduce me as to people, like, this is the guy who's going to inherit the empire, kind of thing. And so it got to a point where, I would say my stature in his eyes in the company had risen, and I was starting to produce teams of people who were now becoming successful myself. And we got to a point where he was kind of starting to view me as more of an equal, and this is where our relationship kind of soured, unfortunately. We had a board of directors, and I was on the board of directors for the company. We'd gone from a company within 5-6 years from 2 guys in a garage to having multiple offices and a board of directors. And the rest of the board tried to vote me into position as CEO to replace him as CEO. And it was not well received. It's unfortunately strained I was very flattered and humbled. I was so touched that they would consider me like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these were all people years older than me, more experienced.
Yeah, I didn't know if you were going to mention that part or bring that part up. And I didn't really want to like harp on it too much. You have like an awesome story. I feel bad that that happened.
Yeah, and it soured the relationship, and from there it was just getting weird. I tried to make efforts to recover it, and he just, I don't know. I think maybe his ego was pricked. I don't know. Either way, it was a good time to part ways. We're still on good terms. He bought a stack of my books to give away to his current sales team.
Hell yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, so we've kept in touch a bit over the years and got a little competitive, and he'll send me pictures of like a big project he's doing, like, check this out. I'm like, oh well, let me see. We got some of this going on. So
that's really cool. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, and to see guys that I've mentored over the years now own their own companies, and like I said, we check in, talk. I'll check out them on social media and see them having a degree of success, and families themselves and growing other people up, and that's kind of where I still have a few other mentors I keep in touch with who when I'm a little troubled or just want some additional feedback or eyes from a different perspective, I might shoot one of these guys a quick Facebook message and say, yo, here's what I'm looking at. What do you think?
I like it. Yeah, I like it. I think that we made it through your introduction. I think that we got to that part. So yeah. I want to move into this background of mine that like a virus like took over my computer and I can't get this background to go away. What tell me about this.
My book, Sharpening the Sword?
Yes.
Okay. So I first started thinking about wanting to sharpen the sword. I was teaching salespeople all the time. I was just like my mentor did for me. I had them rolling around the truck with me. I was given certain topics of advice, and I found myself like repeating the same things, like the same lessons over and over. And I'm like, damn, I should just write this stuff into a book. And so I did. I wrote a lot of it into a book. And, first it was like it wasn't as fleshed out as it is now. It started as like a training manual in the company. And then I would have people tell me like, holy shit, man, a lot of this stuff is applicable beyond more than just, our roofing company. So I modified a lot of it and rewrote a lot of it, turned it into right here, sharpen the sword.
Okay, very nice. How many pages are we there?
100.
Okay.
100. It's a light book.
So what'd you start with? What's chapter 1?
Chapter 1 is philosophy. And a lot of people who are in the business space who I've met through business networking, and they're all about learning the next hot marketing tactic and the new Facebook ad bot or whatever. They've asked me like, why, like they almost think it's like fluff. Like, why start a book that we want to learn marketing from with philosophy? And my point is that you can have the best technology in the world. You can have a fantastic understanding of marketing. You can have amazing resources at your disposal. But if your head is not in the right place, if your philosophy isn't conducive to what your goals are, then none of that is nearly as helpful as it could be. So, I bring up philosophy in chapter 1 as, basically saying before you start learning the tools of the trade, get your head on straight.
I watched a video recently of addressing the subconscious before you can address like the conscious. Like you need to be in a good headspace in order to be kind of like a productive and a useful person. Is that a little bit of it?
Yeah, that's a big part of it, and it's similar to a lot of philosophical readings that I enjoy. Like I'm a big fan of Stoicism, as I've shared with you here before. But yeah, I use a specific analogy in my book. Let me pull it up here. Got it here with me.
While you're looking for that, how long of a time period did you write this over? Like you said, you had it as a manual first.
Yeah, I would say about 1.5 years. I was kind of passively working
on
another project, and then towards the end, I was just like, realized I was becoming another author who's like, yeah, I'm writing books, sorta. I was like, get your shit together and get it done, man.
Yeah.
So I went on a tear towards the end, kicked myself in the ass, and got it done.
So, by the way, to everybody out there in chat, anytime you want to, at me a direct message in Discord and just tell me to keep working and keep like smacking my face. Because there's times where I could be working more or like working smarter or doing like better productivity, and I like need the coaching kind of from everybody out there in order to keep me on like the right track and on the right path. Like
want me
Go ahead.
You want me to check in and give you the verbal kick in the ass periodically, Turing?
You're welcome to. I've been doing better.
Right. You guys heard it here. He gave me permission for a little tough love.
Yep, I can. I do need it, and I do. Well, I can at least handle tough love at this point. It's not gonna make me cry.
We'll start relatively gentle.
No, you're fine. It won't upset me, and I do need it. I do kind of like see that you and I are out here as much for the community as we are for ourselves, if not more for the community. Like I would say.
Yeah.
And that's kind of
both.
And that's where like the motivation and the energy and the drive comes from is like the helping. You just want to help people, and I kind of want to do. Well, I'll say inform people. You can determine if that's helping or not. Some people say being informed is not helping. If you believe ignorance is bliss.
Doing it as you're doing it is helping people because you're so far do not appear to be trying to flavor your information with personal bias. You don't have, as far as I can deduce thus far, maybe you're a secret mastermind villain here, Turing.
You haven't seen our nighttime chats.
Yeah, it seems like you don't have a hidden agenda in it thus far. But hold on, this is the part in the book, chapter 1, and I'd like to share with you guys here.
Okay.
This is part of it. Our philosophy is how we perceive the world and other people. It's the way we see things. The way we perceive life dictates our reactions. Our reactions motivate our action. It's our actions that ultimately create our outcomes, thus our destinies. Once you truly understand this concept, then it becomes clear the powerful impact our philosophy has on our lives and our outcomes. Let's try a few simple examples. I'm sure you've heard the saying, can't teach an old dog new tricks, right? If a person chooses to adhere to that nonsense, then how do you think they will react when someone tries to teach them a new skill or tactic?
Hmm.
They will immediately dismiss it because they believe this bullshit story about how they simply cannot learn anything new. And by the way, I've seen this happen time and time again, personally. Then this thought,
No comment on how many times I've seen it happen.
right? Then this thought process prevents them from growing. The lack of growth will surely strangle a business or individual. The business declines, and so does the well being of the individual and their family. Not having enough income can create stress and discord in the home. Health can decline, and stress, lack of funds to purchase good food. Lowered immune system means you get sick more. Do you begin to see how subtle yet powerful these perceptions can be? Say you're a sales rep and you hold on to this perception or philosophy that says people say no and their minds cannot be changed. How does this play out? Each time you hear a no, you don't bother to rebuttal or follow up. You begin to get more appointments. You begin to go to more appointments with less deals closed. You begin to feel frustrated and desperate for a sale. Your next prospect smells the desperation, is turned off. They say no, and you sulk off onto your next meeting with an even worse attitude before. These effects compound upon one another and create what we call our lives. My own journey of growth started when I first began to question my own philosophies, and eventually I identified limiting beliefs that were holding me in place and preventing me from creating the lifestyle I wanted. And then at the end there, I included a quote from Earl Nightingale. Whatever we plant in our subconscious mind and nourish with repetition and motion will one day become a reality.
I just have to do something very quickly here. Just sounded like we were losing audio quality for a quick minute. Okay, and we're back. So you're really thinking that people need to come from a sharpened place of their mind in order to succeed, and you think that if you have like little cracks inside, you're gonna have foundational cracks that are gonna come up later?
Yeah, agreed. I mean, you gotta start from a strong foundation, and your mind is your foundation. That's where you start. And then once you understand your motivations, why you want to do what you want to do, and, who you are, kind of the way you want to accomplish this goal, and then you can begin to move forward with more confidence in what you're doing, as opposed to just trying things willy nilly and trying to figure it out as you go. But to try to start from a strong foundation, to understand the lens through which you see the world, and to question it. Maybe it's right, maybe it's wrong, maybe it only needs minor adjustment, maybe it needs to be thrown out entirely. But using the example that we both seen examples of ourselves, can't teach an old dog new tricks. That is a primary example of somebody maintaining a philosophy that will cause them to limit themselves in life. And if you're like myself and you have a family, then that affects more than just you. And when you have a variety of these little different miniature beliefs or philosophy that all tend to restrict you in some way, you find it difficult to accomplish whatever it is you want to.
Hmm. When you, man, I was just trying to remember what I was gonna say, and I couldn't. Go ahead and say something else so I can think of it.
All right, well, all right. Let's use an example that you might. I think I might have changed your perspective the other day on how marketing can be used, right?
Oh, yes, you did. Yeah, very much so.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, so
you very quickly changed it.
you saw the lens, you saw the lens through the world of marketing is evil because bad people use it for bad things, which you're not wrong. But
Yes.
marketing can be used to create opportunities, funds for causes, for good information. It's just a tool. But if you are running around with the philosophy, the mindset of marketing is evil, then you yourself will never use marketing to grow your channel. And I would say a lot of people are obviously enjoying and benefiting from your channel.
Yeah, very, very good thing. And I remembered what I wanted to say. You mentioned somewhere in your little speech there about be objective or be skeptical of like information that you receive. Always be questioning everything that's going on.
Yeah.
I've titled my stream recently, and what I need to get back to it is be objectively skeptical of all information, including this news channel. I think that even our conversation that you and I are having, everybody should take it with like their own level of skepticism. Uh, and I think it's very important in every part of life to question, no, regardless of what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I encourage questioning yourself at times. To poke at your own beliefs and thoughts at times, and ask where this comes from. Does it come from a positive place, or am I entertaining my lesser self?
Yeah, I can't agree with that anymore. As you were mentioning, I was very against marketing because I feel a lot of the dangerous marketing tactics push people to consumerism and to materialism without their choosing, without their even wanting it to happen. Like if you walk down a city block, how many different advertisements and everything like are you being inundated with? So that's where,
It's
go ahead.
I would say that kind of marketing is certainly lubricating a very slippery slope.
Yeah.
And you're not wrong to have a distrust and disdain of marketing, but it's also important to understand it's a tool, just like a hammer. A hammer can be used to do terrible things. It can be useless if you just let it sit there, and it can be used to make works of art that contribute to people's lives.
Yeah,
It's
when
just a
you
tool.
when you convinced me that it was a tool and not a vehicle of suppression, that was when I came around differently against it. Because I've frequently railed against people that go to college studying marketing. Frequently railed against them. Just thinking like you're promoting a bloated like segment of the economy that doesn't need to be there. And I don't know. I still don't like marketing as a field of discipline or study within college. But maybe, I may change it. I'm just gonna try to fix this audio super fast.
All right,
See if that did any better.
can you guys hear me fine?
Ubiquitous outdoor advertising is one of the reasons I support graffiti. No one asked me if I wanted to see all those billboards. So, Swift, are you much of a fashion man? Do you like I see you have a nice shirt on today.
It's just a black button down, man. I'm a minimal. I have a few professional shirts. I have a few Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gear for that. A little bit of hiking clothes and comfortable clothes. But I try to keep it minimal, bro.
I like that. Another industry that I'm not very fond of is like the fashion industry and the appearance industry. I like we put so much emphasis on aesthetics and how things appear and how they touch and how they feel and how they look. Um, so this is why I used to be I wanted to look hip all the time. I always wanted to look cool and all that kind of stuff. One, it got
Been
expensive.
there.
Yeah, one, it gets expensive. But two, now I think so to tie into sarcasm's point, I think people should just get tattoos and wear plain t-shirts so they can put graffiti on their body. They don't have to put it over like their skin. Um, that's how I wish, kind of in my like dystopic future, people would just have tats and not so much clothing fashion.
Tatted up tribes roaming the future wasteland, rejecting fashion at its core.
I I wouldn't stop it. I don't think. I don't think that I
But you
would.
got my vote, wasteland leader.
Are there any other big points? Oh, I didn't mean to cut out part of your title there. Are there any other big points within your book that you would like to discuss without like revealing like the entire contents of it, so nobody nobody doesn't go and buy the book? I'm hoping that somebody would maybe get it today.
um, it covers, obviously it begins with philosophy. It covers some sales, marketing tactics, some points of my personal thoughts and ethic on how to do business right and to treat people amazing. Give you an example. I have a chapter called Clients versus Customers, where I explain the big difference between clients and customers, right? Like McDonald's has customers, where someone it doesn't no one gives a shit in the interaction, right? Can you guys not hear me?
Oh no, I believe they can. I think
Oh,
everything's fine.
okay. All right, gotcha. So a client is someone who is under your care, your guidance, and your protection. Like whatever industry you're in, you are familiar with that jungle, and you're their Sherpa, you're their guide, right? And they're trying to get to the jungle, and they need to feel safe with you. And that's how it should be. The client relationship should be. They should trust that you have their best interests in mind, that you should be professional and knowledgeable and expertise enough to know the jungle to get them through safely. Whereas people treat customers as merely transactions, just give me your money and fuck off, which I think is incredibly distasteful and unethical business and
Mm.
prevents like genuine relationships from forming.
Oh my gosh, you just made me wait, unethical business. You made me think of a question that I thought of last night at 2:58 a.m. I was laying in bed and I was like, I need to set my alarm to wake up and have this conversation with Swift. And I also need to send this message to somebody. I set my alarm. My alarm didn't go off. Slightly echoish. Yeah, I've been hearing a little bit of the echo thing too. I'm gonna have to try to figure out what's going on with that one. Sarcasm. Um, I set my alarm. My alarm didn't go off in the morning, and I didn't send the message to somebody. But you said unethical business practice, and it made me think of something with free speech and hate speech and social media companies. Um, I mean, I guess I could mention it now. I've teased it enough. Should we allow social media companies to grow large enough that they can't enforce their own laws, like their own terms of service, without using algorithms? So as of right now, a lot of content on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube gets filtered through an algorithm first, and then either sent to or somehow like verified by like the people at Twitch or at Twitter or any of these different places, um, where where they should moderate or where they shouldn't moderate. But I listened to a 3.5 hour conversation with Jack Dorsey and Vidya, somebody, one of the high up lawyers at Twitter, and they said that they only had about, I think it was 4,000 employees worldwide. And I was just even thinking of like the number of tweets sent per day that they would have to kind of look over and look at for terms of service, look at for harming other people, look at for all of these kind of stuff. Should we have allowed these companies to get to a point that they can't even, like, there is no way to police it without AI?
So like you're referring to like a Facebook, for example.
Correct, yeah. I'll even use specifically Twitter because that's the one that I'm like
Facebook,
better
Twitter,
about.
and you're asking if we should allow them to get too big or should not allow them to get too big?
Have we, is it okay for them to be so large that they are requiring using algorithms to monitor and do censoring and protect people? So on Twitter, a lot of times like content gets filtered through, and if it's deemed like violent or extreme or whatever, the algorithm can either first remove it, like some algorithms can just take content down right away. Otherwise, the algorithm sends it to the Twitter team. The Twitter team eventually gets to it and looks through it and then makes a decision on it. But they don't have enough people that they can actively police all of the information that they're trying to uphold their terms of service on.
I imagine so, man. That's a hell of a task. I mean, I'm no expert in this topic, so any conjecture I give you is incredibly amateur. I could take a swing at it anyway here. Um,
Yeah, I saw about his multiple ice baths a day. He doesn't eat on the weekends. Jack Dorsey doesn't have meals on the weekends. He eats Sunday night. He only eats once per day. He starts the day off with a water, salt, lemon drink. Um, he does a lot of cryotherapy along with sauna work. Yeah, he has become a little bit unique.
I
Go
know.
ahead.
I mean, the cryotherapy doesn't sound too weird to me. There's a lot of guys in the community who use cryotherapy,
Hmm.
so that's not too bizarre to me. Um, it's really hard for me to say. It's really hard for me to say.
You see where I think that there's a question to be asked.
For sure, because obviously there's massive influence which can steer people in different questionable directions, but at the same time,
I don't
hmm,
know what that I don't know what that means. Is that isn't that a bad term for Asiatic people? I don't really know. I was trying to think of when I saw that movie with Clint Eastwood. What was his serious movie that he did semi recently with the Vietnamese kids? He drove like the green Mustang. Um, I don't remember. I don't entirely remember. I'm sorry. We got through the book. I did derail us onto that question that I wanted to ask. Your campaign of encouragement that you mentioned a little bit. This is just your belief that there's not enough people like recognizing the good aspects and not like helping people be motivated with one another?
To just believe in each other, give a little bit of encouragement. I think anybody has experience, whether starting a blog, an online comic, a business, a podcast, a Twitch stream, any project outside of a 9 to 5 job, it's incredibly rare to have people just be like, I believe in you, like your talents, like here's what I see about you. Not to not give bullshit compliments, like false compliments, but to give genuine praise. To find genuine praise. Like you might think, there's a lot of people who, it seems like people are more comfortable speaking well of each other behind each other's backs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a little awkward for people, I think, to compliment and encourage each other directly, but I think it's so necessary. And the reason this started for me is because when I first started in my business and being mentored, my whole family, everybody, friends, family, everybody, don't do it. You're being taken for a ride. It won't work for you. Get a job, get a job, get a job. And man, it hurt me, dude. Like it fucking burnt. It hurt my spirit. Like it made me. I'd lie awake at night. Like, am I making a wrong decision? Am I heading in the wrong direction? And just I went through that whole experience, and nobody changed their tune until I made some changes, made some money, and then everybody, oh yeah, I believed in you the whole time, right? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I've noticed that one when I've told people this is the project that I want to do. People look at me and they're like, well, first they say what? Like they don't entirely understand like what I want to try. But then they also kind of just say like, that nobody does news. There's nothing like to be done there. There's no growth market for it. There isn't like a way forward. And I vehemently disagreed. I really think that this has like a massive growth potential for this type of content on Twitch.
I agree.
Go ahead.
I agree, and that's one of the reasons I enjoy encouraging you about it, and not trying to tell you to invest your efforts in another project. So at that point, after I had a degree of success myself, I was like, you know what? Fuck anybody who's not encouraging people. I am gonna dial that shit up myself and start throwing out encouragement here, because I could have used it when I was coming up in my journey, right? And then
it's often one word or one statement that can either tip the scale in either direction. It can be one negative comment that is just like too much for a person to hear, and combined with all of the other things that they've heard bad in the past, or it can be that like, dude, I'll reference you again. Like, you really did give me a lot of encouragement when like, you're telling me like I'm getting like this great growth and all this kind of stuff, and I don't always see it, because I look that I'm still like doing the same thing as before. But then like when I look at it from other perspectives, like you're correct. I'm having a lot more people engage. There is a trajectory upward for it. I finally started the podcast that I've been like wanting to do for a long time, and it has been no bullshit, like because of like little benefits from people like you. And I'm trying to even think of like who some of the others were that really like helped out much. The Doghouse Show helped out. Killer Steven has helped out. You have helped out. And aside from that, there's been like some kind of resistance from other like parts of the community. And I like watching to see the battle of like these like positive reinforcement methods versus like the negative reinforcement, because there are people that think that it's a small pond and there's not enough room for every fish.
Yeah.
And there's people that think
mindset.
And there's people that think it's an ocean and the oceans are being depleted, so there's more fucking room for the fish. There, I gave in an opinion.
Whoops, let that one slip.
Yeah, that one came out, huh?
But this opinion, this thought of mine, further solidified when I deal with people like yourself, and I would just give an iota, just a fucking scrap of encouragement, and to see how some people would like blossom from it. And I'm like, holy shit! Like, some people are so starved. They are getting such little encouragement and belief from people in their lives that one kind word, one kind statement meant so much to them. That, to me, that's cause for alarm, guys. Like, if people in our life are so starved for encouragement that one simple sentence positive from a stranger on the internet will affect them. So we all need to reassess our shit.
Mm.
Like, we need to think about how we're treating the people who are trying things in our lives.
This is
So
why
like,
I don't really like attacking language, like in my chat, um, because it only takes like one interaction with a person. Like, okay, people are coming in and they're meeting one another via your channel and via my channel. So they're coming in not knowing who this other person is on the other side of the screen. And if you make one or two mistakes early in your interactions with that person, you're gonna you're gonna set up like a failed relationship. They're not gonna be able to have like a good communication together. They're not gonna be able to have a good discourse. So I think that's the concept of just like hold the door open for a person, or just do like the little things that I feel that most of our parents probably did teach us, like the small little what formalities in life. That's not it. What am I looking for? What am I trying to find,
I would
Swift?
say an advanced degree of conscientiousness.
Hmm. Do you think that there is so do you think that the little actions really do have big effects?
Yes,
Yeah.
I think we become an accumulation of small decisions, habits. I think that what you are in anything, you are in everything.
Grace and
And
courtesy, that's a good way to put it, sarcasm. Grace and courtesy. Yeah, because I have no
agreed,
problem
agreed,
with
sarcasm.
people. I don't have any problem with like a conversation or a debate or an exchange of like differing ideas. But when you do lower to insults and to derogatory statements and like diversions and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, or even just trying to be like alluding to some of those things. You can break down a chat, you can break down a community, you can break down like I had one video of mine. It was one of the bigger streams that I ever had. You were in here when the people came in and they fought. Um,
Oh yeah.
yeah, you remember the day of like the fighting conversation. There were three people that came into my channel. They were having like an argument or whatever. It like spiraled me into a negative emotional mindset that it took me like multiple hours to get out of off stream. Like I was very affected just by like seeing the pain and aggression and anger in the people in the chat, because I do like I don't know, you guys or the people here are you're here to be safe and to exchange ideas. So,
Yeah,
um,
I remember that day that you had that stream, and I could see it was taking a toll on you. And I was just like, man, these guys, and that's toxicity bleeding out. It wasn't even aimed at you,
oh,
and
exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's what made me
and
watch
that
that
kind of
video
behavior
with Dr.
is
Gabor Mate and Tim Ferriss, because I wanted to understand like why my mind worked that way, where it felt like kind of the other things that it shouldn't feel. Um, yeah, and I've been trying to look into like empath or like sensitive minds, I guess. Go ahead. What were you saying? I'm sorry, I cut you off.
no worries, no worries. Yeah, I was in that day, and I observed. I could tell it was getting you a little bit, and that's an example of what we were commenting earlier, of the level of discourse we often see. I didn't want to engage with anybody there because I was, as I observed that exchange, what's that saying? Don't play chess with a pigeon, otherwise he'll just shit all over the board and act like he won. And that's
Okay, I never heard that one before.
yeah,
It's so hard to determine. Okay, so since I deal on a variety of different topics, it can be hard to determine when a person is trolling and when a person is like holding that as their valid position. Because I do feel that there's going to be ideas that come in here that are weird. And I want to give people the opportunity to express them. So we are now moving into the next topic: SwiftGlassEater's Twitch experience thus far. I feel that it's kind of like an apt one to move on to. So, what have you been thinking about Twitch so far for you?
it's been a lot of fun. It's an outlet for me to let out the weirder side of myself, as we talked about a little bit ago, as you observed yourself. Um, because I just have to spend a fair amount of time being a professional version of myself. So it's nice to have that outlet of gaming, connecting with the community. And as I wasn't going to stream on Twitch initially. That was my other half. She also streams. You might know her as Vicious Vixen. She streams and games with me as well. And she's the one who encouraged me to get into streaming. You know, we'd seen articles about people doing it and having conversations about like, wow, it's really cool if these young people are able to succeed doing things they like. And she's like, you should totally stream. Like, you're entertaining, and you know, the stuff you do on video games is pretty cool. I'm like, yeah, you know, you're biased. You like me, so of course you're gonna say that. But she kept pushing. I started streaming, and the feedback has been surprising to me. I'm surprised people enjoy watching me game so much. It's been a fun outlet. It's been fun for me to be a little weird. And then, where's the pirate hat weed man for you, buddy? Coming up right here.
I like it.
All right, there you go.
I'll go get something for the people in chat too, while you're talking.
All right. And so then I started, you know, just like looking around the Twitch world a little bit and see what other people are doing. And I saw people doing just chatting streams. And I was like, I work from home a lot. I'll give that a shot. So sometimes I'm doing basic marketing tasks on the computer or whatever. I'll fire up the stream, turn on some music or an audio book. And I started having conversations with people while streaming. And it has been really fascinating for a variety of reasons. I've been able to learn from other people who are in different countries and cultures. You know, I've been able to share some information. I've been able to encourage people to share my dang encouragement campaign with another array of people. I have people coming into my chat and they start talking about the jobs they're working on or the projects they want to do or the books or whatever. And I try to share as much tips as resources and videos and information as possible to help them secure their objective. Like, I just reviewed one of my favorite viewers here, Natomate, if you're still in here.
Yeah, I heard you went over his resume.
Yeah, I went over his resume live on stream for him because he's looking to expand his career. So I'd like to help him do that. And it's just so fucking cool that Twitch, a gaming platform, is allowing me to help out people like that. You know, there's been a few other people who've utilized the marketing tactics, have listened to me talk about marketing, and then hit me up a week later and been like, dude, that works. Like, I just made some money doing what you said on Twitch. I'm like, oh shit, like, that is cool. So it's another outlet. It's been entertaining for me. It's been educational for me, and it's another avenue that has allowed me to benefit other people, to share some value. And then in turn, I've had my book sales increase since I've been doing the just chatting stream. So
that I believe. I will be picking it up someday. I can assure you of that.
I appreciate that.
I'm only gonna buy it for the art. I'm only buying it for the art. No, I'm kidding. I do like the cover though. I really like the cover. I like the color scheme.
As do I. As do I. And it's not all sales and tactics oriented. It's, you know, there's a couple chapters that are.
Yeah. How long have you been streaming on Twitch now?
I'm around a year. A year now.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I came into your channel when you were the daytime. I probably didn't come in when you were gaming. I probably came in for your just chatting first, when we first met.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the I just like that people are willing to put themselves out there, try to like make new friends. I think Twitch is like a unique, like, crazy thing. I would not have many friends if I did not do Twitch. Scarecrow21, hello, welcome. This is the first episode of Talks with Touring featuring SwiftGlassEater. I wanted him to be the first person that came onto the channel. He was somebody that helped me out a bunch on Twitch. So if anybody wants to give him a follow that hasn't already, that is where you can find his Twitch TV. If anybody wants to buy his book that they haven't already, you can get in touch with him about that. But this was a new segment that I wanted to start, and that I wanted him to be the first guest on. Yeah. Yeah, Twitch brings people from different cultures, different religions, different football clubs, different countries. Like, it's really, I think it's one of the most fascinating platforms out there. I really do.
Yeah, it's certainly more than I thought it was. I was under the impression it was just people gaming. I'm like, you know, check it out, why not? and it's really been a fascinating experience so far for me.
Someone said you should get some people to review your book on goodreads.com. That's where many, many people go for books. It's the social media for readers.
I think someone mentioned to me that they did or they were
Sarcasm.
going to review
Links
my
are
book.
allowed in here too. You can type links into my chat. I don't have any filters. What were you saying, Swift? You heard about the...
Yeah, I had a reader tell me that they were either going to review me on Goodreads or they have.
Okay.
I'm not sure. Worth
That's
looking into. Thank
That's
you
more
for the
important than
heads up there.
subscribing.
Excuse
More
my
important than
sarcasm.
subscribing to Twitch's channel or to Swift's channel. Review his book, rate his book. That's probably more helpful than a subscription to him. Yeah, how do we get your book? Is there
You can access my link tree on my Twitch page. There's also a tab on my Twitch page, my info panel. There's that same picture that you have right there, the chessboard. You just click on that, and it'll take you right to Amazon. I can pull up the link for it.
Yeah, if you want to type the link into the chat or anything like that. You sell right off Amazon?
Correct.
Wow, cool. That's cool, I guess. I don't like Amazon that much, but they do good work.
Oh yeah, it's a fantastic. Their KDP and Create Space programs are incredibly useful for creators to have access to publishing resources. You don't have to have any money, and you can publish your book on here, but you only get paid if it sells. It's put self-publishing in the hands of people like it's never been before.
Really cool. Thank you. Oh, okay. That's your book there. You should flush out your bio too. People like access to the author. So he brought up your, he found your book on it, on Goodreads.
Oh, cool.
I'm actually bringing the link up right now. The book has not been rated yet. Yeah, you could definitely maybe add a few things in there about yourself. Here is,
Let me make a note here. I'm right on my
it is right there.
clipboard.
Ooh, now I
Check
just got
out
crazy
Goodreads.
echo. Did you change microphone settings somehow?
Right? What's that?
I just got a very big double echo. I tried to come back.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, but the echo is very intense. I don't know if it's something I'm doing on my end. Go ahead and try to say something one more time.
Hello, hello, hello.
Yeah, you sound imposing and powerful. Let me think about this here. Leave the call and I'm gonna revoice call you.
All right.
Can you turn your camera back on if you don't mind?
Here, it's on. Yeah, recall me here. It's giving me trouble.
Yeah, great Oz, tell me your secrets. Yeah, I'm not really sure what has happened here at all. Checking my sounds to see. Check, check.
How are we doing?
Okay, there it goes. We're better. All back. So, what is your book about? If you want to tell us about it one little more quick time. Scarecrow was just curious.
It's a handful of some of my favorite lessons that I would teach the people I was mentoring in my business experience over the years. There's some philosophy topics in there, some sales and marketing tactics, a little bit about doing business ethically and respectably, things of that nature.
Yeah, I do want to check it out. I do want to add it to my reading list. I do want it to be something that can be consuming, because it's really not that long of a book either. I should be able to read it in like a day or two, I would think. Or I would hope that I could read it in a day or two. There was another part of your, I think, journey and your strengthening of your mind that we haven't talked about at all, actually. And that's how you feel Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu has helped you, I guess, like sharpen yourself. What do you think, what has that provided to you?
Sorry, you cut out for a moment. What'd you say?
What has the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu done in helping you strengthen your mind, and like get you to the point that you're at now?
Okay. Can you hear me fine?
Kind of, yeah. It's something weird going on within Discord. I can actually hear you pretty a-okay right now.
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Just want to make sure you guys can hear me. Okay, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. I've been into martial arts for a long time. I traveled the country for a long time throughout my 20s, opening branches of this company. And, I stopped wanting to party and drink, but, young man, like, how do you meet new people? So I started going to different martial arts schools. I moved to one place
Hmm.
for a bit and tried a taekwondo school. Moved somewhere else and joined a boxing school. When I went to open my Texas branch, I Googled, martial arts near me, and Brazilian Jiu Jitsu was right down the road. And I went in there and I got my ass kicked like I've never gotten my ass kicked before. I mean, it was bad, and I was like, I got destroyed. I'm signing up. It was his first a guy way smaller than me threw me through the air and submitted me, and then a 77-year-old man double leg me and wrist locked me. And I was like, jeez. Like, all right, I need what you guys are selling here. And the benefits have been I mean, I don't know where to begin in terms of the mental, the physical, the confidence. It teaches you to stay calm under pressure. There's times where you're on the bottom, you're grappling somebody and you're stuck underneath a really heavy opponent, and like their sweat is dripping in your face and they're like bending your arm at an unnatural angle and it just feels miserable. But you got to mentally train your brain to stay calm and think, okay, if I can fish out my leg, turn my hips, turn into them, like you gotta problem solve. It's like solving a 200-pound Rubik's cube that's trying to kill you. You got to problem solve on the go there. And if you panic, while you're getting smashed, I mean, the game is over, you lose. So it really helps you learn to stay calm in these tough situations. And of course, self-defense aspect of it is really powerful. I'm a firm believer in being prepared
So
to defend yourself.
do you think the staying calm aspect translates over into your business dealings? Because as you've gotten your body ready for needing to critically think and like needing to be hyper aware, do you think that that's helped you transition into the business world?
100%. It's been
Yeah.
useful for every aspect of my life, from dealing with personal relationships to my business to any situation that requires me to stay cool. It's like, give you an example. There were times where I've gone to class and then I've had to go have a negotiation. And negotiation is tense for a lot of people, right? But when you're sitting down at a table with someone and you can see the other person getting tense, and I'm thinking like, yo, I just had a 230-pound man smashing me for 40 minutes. Like, this is nothing. This
Yep.
doesn't seem so bad, and it allows me to keep my wits about me in tense situations. Any situation where tensions rise and you run the possibility of losing your mental clarity, that mindset I've gained from jiu-jitsu kind of comes into rescue, is like reassert control. Like, do not lose control. You are still in the fight.
Hmm. I need to get myself back into more physical activities and better physical shape. I mean, I'm 6'1", 190 pounds, so it could be much worse. I could be in a lot like worse of a place than I'm at. Um, but I don't have the muscle mass that I should have. I don't have the core strength. I don't have the aerobic conditioning, and it's been something that I've been meaning to get to. I just have not gotten the work-life balance completely settled in just yet. And moving cities, starting a new business, all this kind of. I guess this is a new business. This is a business, right?
Of course.
In some way, yeah.
Of course. Also the self-defense aspect. I love that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gives you options. It
Ah,
gives you
okay.
options, because most people, when they think of a physical altercation, they think two people probably trying to punch each other, right?
Hmm. So
Punching is dangerous.
how important do you think it is to teach children martial arts?
Oh man, I think it's vital. Our girls train jujitsu, and it shows in their discipline and their strength.
Hmm.
They don't get as overwhelmed by things in life as other kids do,
Mm.
and they don't get intimidated.
Two
It's kind of
questions here. Have you written The Briefcase and Family Matters? Are those your books?
Negative.
Okay, those are
Those
not
are
yours.
not mine.
Sarcasm.
Sharpening the Sword is the only book I've written at this time. I have a few more in the works, though.
Spoiler alert! That was what we were going to be getting to soon. I wanted to ask you, sarcasm. Do you think that it's important to teach children martial arts? I've kind of had this concept that if you teach everybody how to defend themselves and how to stop aggressors and how to mentally strengthen themselves as well as physically, we might have lower levels of violence in the country just because people would be able to know that they can be strong by themselves. And that was a good question to ask for you. How often have you had to actually use your martial arts for self-defense, Swift?
A handful of times.
There is a handful. Okay.
Yeah. And before I was more, I got a little slack with it at one point in time. And I paid for it. I was out and about, and someone tried to stab me. And I didn't get stabbed, but I got sliced. But if I were a little more prepared, I might not have taken the injury I did. I don't know if you can see it on camera here.
Oh, wow. Yeah, wow. Okay. So this is coming from, well, anecdotal, like this is like personal experience that you've had to use yours.
Yeah, and this is also why I prefer Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or grappling arts in general, because they give you options. You don't have to hurt people with Jiu-Jitsu. You can take them down, With Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you can do a takedown, you can control how hard you take them down, you can restrain somebody. You can put somebody to sleep. There's techniques to teach you how to break arms, how to break wrists, how to break legs. You can put someone at RNC and put them to sleep. You can kill them if you'd like to.
Depends on the age. Sometimes children's brains aren't ready for certain ideas, and that's valid. I would like to know what might be the right age to do some of that. But yes, my child's in karate. We're looking for a new place though. They spar, and we don't want him to be punching or being punched. Probably Aikido. And I think that's valid. What do you think about that, Swift?
To not have children punched, or to
Yeah, the sparring part, like being worried that that could be detrimental to development.
In our schools, they've always had the kids train with gloves and safety gear, but they are punching, kicking, they're grappling, they're putting arm bars on, they're putting RNCs on, and they're learning control. They're learning not to haul out and hurt each other.
Is there any punching to the head?
Yeah, with headgear on, headgear and gloves.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Children's class here absolutely spars, and they grapple, and they train rear naked chokes, they train wrist locks.
I do kind of worry. I worry about that one, just from a concussion standpoint. But I don't know the evidence behind it enough.
Well, I mean, if you go hang out in a good legitimate jiu-jitsu school, you'll see the level of control. I mean, these classes take place every day for years, and
well, jiu-jitsu doesn't do striking though, correct?
Yes and no. It depends on who you. Yeah, right. So you get in the jiu-jitsu community, things get a little divisive.
Okay.
But yeah, a lot of classic schools will teach how to handle strikes, how to strike a little bit, or how to combine, like how to do like a jab, jab, cross, low kick, move your hips in for a judo throw, move in for a jiu-jitsu armbar. They'll teach you these sequences.
Nice sarcasm. So I've had plenty of experience dragging unruly humans out of places. Yeah, I really think that one of the ways. So you mentioned like it's sad that a person can go on the internet and get one bit of encouragement and that changes their entire outlook because it makes you worry that we've fallen. Is that accurate? Like we've made mistakes if we've gotten to that point?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to say mistakes, but we're not doing a great job of nurturing each other. If such little encouragement means so much to people, that means that the bar for what we expect of encouragement or are used to from each other has gotten that low. Then yeah, it's a little concerning.
I think one of the ways to build a person up and have them look for internal happiness is through philosophy, is through martial arts, is through self-exploration, is through these different like avenues. Would you agree?
Yeah, oh yeah, and you'd be shocked at the amount of life philosophy that takes place on the mats in discussion after we've all simulated trying to murder each other a dozen times, and choked and armbarred, worn out, people like laying back on the mat, sweating, gasping for air, and I've listened to Muslims and Christians comfortably talk to each other and atheists, and like lay in a circle all sweating after beating each other up and just talk.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've seen some amazing like different types of people have breakthrough conversations because there's something unique that occurs. There's a unique camaraderie that grows when you have people who in your life you fight with and they hurt you and you hurt them, but the goal is to make each other stronger, and you come from a place of caring for each other.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an amazing thing to see. That's another reason I love the martial arts community so much, is it's my social scene as well.
Yeah. So what level of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu are you? What belt, if I may?
I'm a blue belt. I'm a 3-stripe blue belt.
Okay. What does that entail or mean? I'm pretty uneducated.
It means I get my ass kicked a little less than I used to.
Okay.
So the way the hierarchy works with belts is, so you start at a white belt, and then as depends on the school, but a lot of schools will give you the progress markers. They'll put like a piece of tape on your belt for each moment of progress. And generally, by like piece of tape 5 or 6, your coach will start, coach, professor, sensei, whatever they prefer. They will begin to consider you for promotion. And then some schools handle it differently. So then it's white belt, blue belt, purple belt, brown belt, black belt.
Okay.
There's a blue belt test. You have to fight 30 matches in a row, rotating 30 different opponents who are all fresh, and you get no breaks in between. You don't have to win. You just have to stay in the fight, not give up, keep displaying technique the whole time, just showing that you're not giving up and actually fighting.
Yeah, I've seen the black belt version of that, or I've seen people just stay in the ring for fresh opponent. It's insane. It's incredible.
Yeah, like when I did mine, man, I'd like sit out in my truck afterwards and just like gather myself. I'm just like I'm not safe to drive home. Like I need some water.
I believe it.
I might call an Uber. I don't know.
I 100% believe it.
I mean, if you look through the social media, I had a picture taken of me afterwards, and my gi is drenched through, and then I accidentally staggered into somebody else's photo, so I accidentally photobombed somebody else. I'm over here like covering my face, staggering around, like what is going on? Got my ass kicked.
I wanted to know the level that you were at because I wanted to ask you, if I saw you on a street and I warned you, hey, like we're gonna fight right now, and I came at you with a knife, you're pretty comfortable that you would be able to disarm?
I mean, anyone who knows martial arts will tell you you shouldn't try to disarm a knife user unless you have no other choice. Someone pulls a knife, you should try to run.
Okay. So run first. So if you cannot run.
If you cannot run, I would at least go for a Kimura lock on the arm to isolate it and bend your arm backwards and make you drop the knife. So if I could get your hand, then potentially. But,
I'm not asking like the question.
How scary it can be playing with knives when someone's moving quick and it's hard. So it's just always wiser to avoid that situation.
Yeah.
But I would rather have jiu-jitsu in my corner than not.
Jiu-jitsu is a discipline where you would allow the other to be the aggressor and then you would counteract, or no?
No.
Okay.
No.
Does it prepare you for that maybe better than some of the others, or most? Because I've always felt that go ahead.
One of the reasons I find jiu-jitsu particularly effective, especially for smaller males, females, children, is because a lot of technique teaches you how to fight, to kill, to escape from your back. I could put you in a ring touring with a few like 90-pound females I know, and I could let you start on top of them, and I'd bet you money that they would escape and they will fucking choke you. Because there's a lot of, I know you sound like you're hesitant to believe that.
No, I've had this conversation with a 104-pound black belt in, I forget which discipline that she was, and she didn't think that she would be able to beat me just from looking at me on like a camera, just because of the difference in size.
What martial art?
I wish I remembered what it was. I really wish I remembered. I'm not sure. I'm sorry. I'm not sure. I do
You
just.
know,
Yeah. Go ahead.
check out a jujitsu school, man. You'll have your eyes opened.
Oh, I
I
will be.
did.
I will be. I've been looking into jujitsu schools around here. First, I need a part-time job in the morning, and then I can get a jujitsu membership.
Yeah, and a lot of places will let you do a free day or even a free week.
Oh, cool.
You know, the jiu-jitsu community is very welcoming. They're always trying to get people in, so
I would
they're pretty
also.
generous.
I should do like a couple weeks of just getting my body reacclimated to activity before diving right in.
You know, everybody says that. Everybody says like, "Oh, I need to get in shape before I go." Dude, it'll get you in shape.
Okay.
They'll have you do warm-ups. No matter what you do, no matter how much you work out before you go in there, you're gonna get gassed out. You're gonna
Cool.
get tired. It's a unique martial art that makes you use muscles you just don't normally use unless you're grappling people.
Uh,
So
glaring.
you get CrossFitters who come in excellent shape and they're dying
Wow.
within they're dying quickly, tired because they're not used to that specific type of action. So just jump both feet in the pool, man. Jump in.
I appreciate it. Glaring Husky asked you a question. How about self-training in martial arts?
Self-training is better than not training, but training with resisting opponents, simulating real fighting, is obviously the best.
Mm. Yeah, I need to get better at it. I did I guess there was like a 6-week period that I went to an MMA school back when I was like strong. And it was fun. I liked it a lot. Um, and I would like to get back into it. I need to, well, just getting my physical body stronger again is something that's important for me to do. I am going to be
And it's
going.
good,
I haven't
it's
even been
good for
getting
your
too much
mental
sun
alacrity.
lately. Yeah, I need to get more sun. So I'm going out today before the Liverpool match to get a. Because like sometimes I try to stream in the daytime, and then I try to stream at nighttime. So yeah. What's that sound?
Jet flyby, making sure we're doing all right here.
Oh wow, you have jets flying by. That's pretty cool. I am looking through our list of topics here, and I'm kind of thinking if anybody in chat has one that they want to ask or a question or anything like that. I'm thinking that we got through most of them. We kind of have two left. You said that it's the. Well, let's go with your current favorite games, and then we'll end on the other one. So,
Gotcha. All right.
what have been the games that you check out? I think that you're. I'm just gonna let you talk.
All right. All right. So yeah, for those of you who come into my gaming streams, you know that lately it's been a lot of State of Decay 2, World War Z. I like Shinobi Striker. Um, what else am I getting into? A little bit of Fallout 76, occasional GTA. But yeah, it's a lot of Shinobi Striker. World War Z's been pretty fun lately. State of Decay 2. My lovely lady and I play. We play a lot of cooperative games for the most part.
Nice. That's
Cooperative
really
and
cool.
PvP. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking at some point I am going to get a game that you have, because I would like to play a game or two with you at some point.
Heck yeah, man.
Uh,
Kill some zombies together or something.
Yeah, I think it would be fun. I was looking into that State of Decay because like that's cool. You know, 4-person co-op, no PvP, that kind of stuff. That's looking pretty jamming. So Husky said,
Yeah,
me and my friend spar with each other a lot. We don't have fancy classes, so we just do it ourselves. Do you have any thoughts on that? Aside from
better than
be
not,
safe,
man.
be safe, be safe.
Better
Of
than
course.
not. It's better than not. Better than everybody who's sitting on the couch and hoping that they don't get attacked. But obviously, the more different people you can combat with who have different styles will expose you to your different weaknesses and strengths and help you hone your game. I mean, because I've traveled around the country, I've been able to train at different jiu-jitsu schools all over, and I'll train with someone in one place who's using takedowns or entries that I'm not familiar with at all, and I'm getting murdered with, and I can ask him afterwards, like, can you show me that? Can you show me how to defend against that? Like, to broaden my horizon. And it's also healthy for ego in that sense because it's easy for us all to let our ego get out of check. But it's good to have someone put your face in the map periodically and remind you, like, hey, you may be a hot shot in other aspects of your life, but here you're just another guy learning. And
Yeah,
have that white belt mentality.
I've looked into. Do you know Jocko Willink?
Yep, big fan of Jocko.
Okay.
Discipline equals freedom, brother.
So I've listened to some of him with what jiu-jitsu has done for him, and I think If nobody knows, yeah, I was about to ask you, sarcasm, are you over 6 feet tall? So I was wondering why you never got attacked. Um, yeah, Jocko Willink. If anybody is looking for just a motivational, fucking, what do you even want to call him? Hero? Like, uh, I don't know. I don't know what kind of
He,
superlatives you
he's a
want to.
modern warrior.
He is. He was a 20-year Special Forces. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah, 20-year Special
Yep.
Forces. He has his own podcast now. It's called The Jocko Show. It's awesome. I haven't even watched it in a little while, but I need to get back into checking it out. There's too many people out there doing amazing stuff right now in order to keep up with all of them. That's kind of one
I
thing on
know,
the
right?
internet. Like I really think Jocko Willink podcast, if you're looking out for good information and good information from a military veteran, which doesn't always get out there as much. Amazing show. Really amazing show. Oh, we just lost your video. Or have we also lost Swift? I will leave the call and video call him and hope that he comes back. The other question that I did want to ask, and I hope that you can hear me because I cannot hear
Hit the
you.
book.
Hi there.
Freedom.
I can hear you once again, Swift.
Okay, cool, cool.
There you are. Hi. Yeah, I kind of wanted to close out on if people in chat didn't have too many questions. And I'm sorry if we didn't have the largest of audiences for you to come over here. I'm not really like a morning stream per
Don't worry
se
about
as
it, man.
much. But I've been absolutely having a great time. I think that we've talked about a lot of important stuff. I think we've talked about a lot of different things that I wanted to talk to with you. And I'm happy that this is the way the first, I guess, broadcast of my new show has been going. So thank you so much, Swift. I cannot thank you enough. Oh, there was a thing that I wanted to touch on before we go away from it. You mentioned Stoicism with your philosophy before. Tell us a little bit about how you've incorporated Stoicism into your life or why you think it's important to practice some level of Stoicism.
Well, there's a lot of tenets to Stoicism. There's a lot of unique places we could begin, but I think a lot of it for me comes from internal strength, to build a degree of internal fortitude, to weather the storms of life, to understand that there's going to be negative things, and that you have the right to feel negatively about them, but not to be overwhelmed by negative emotion, not to let your emotion take you over, to acknowledge it, and then to begin to address it. To try and focus on being a better version of yourself. A lot of tenets of Stoicism focus on resisting your lesser self, resisting your base impulses, resisting your own internal biases and
Mm,
weaknesses, to just strive to be a better version of yourself. And you have to be understanding when you come up short from time to time, and to not let it deter you from continuing your journey. Those are a lot of the key tenets that Stoicism means to me.
Hello, Helen Smeggles. How are you doing? Hey, nice to see you. What does '07 mean? Is that like some kind of welcome thing or something that I just don't know too much about? Follow-up question to Stoicism. How would you caution people about the process of not being as guided by your emotions as to muting your emotions? Um, so I have tried to incorporate different parts of Stoicism into my life, but I've kind of noted that it doesn't. I don't get as happy as I once did before. I stay at a high plateau. Like I'm always in a happy state now. Well, okay, I'm mostly in a happy state right now, but I don't have the same mountains of happiness that I once used to have. Do you think anything about that, or?
I guess I don't, because that hasn't been my experience at all for me since I've been implementing Stoicism into my own life.
Mm,
I definitely feel happier and more satisfied in my life because I'm indulging less in my lesser emotions, so to speak.
okay.
So I haven't experienced that myself, but I see if someone's like going too hard on suppressing emotions and
Mm,
understanding the difference that stoicism is not about suppressing emotions because we're not robots. We
hmm.
can't just wish them away
Yeah.
and hope they're gone,
I
but
kind
to
of.
clinically
I,
analyze them, like, why do I feel this way? Can I do something about it? To learn to train yourself in the moments of like catching yourself during a self complaint, making an excuse to yourself,
mhm.
catching yourself in moments of bias, to breathe and calm down before you be
Yeah.
reactionary and speak.
I at
Those
time
are tenets of
I
stoicism.
I at times have taken it too far where I try to suppress emotion because of like the I mean you hear of the journey and the path that I want to be on. It's one that like more often than not if I allow emotion to get into it, it's not going to be so beneficial. And I do try to sometimes be too robotic in it. And that's what I've been working on maybe over the past like couple weeks is bringing back some of those emotions closer. So Helen Meggles, Sharpening the Sword is not an innuendo. This is a book that was written by SwiftGlassEater, the guest on the channel today. His name is Joseph Bryant. This is the first book that he wrote. And just doing a little bit of advertising for him on the background while we were having this nice podcast. To return to Stoicism, yeah, I feel that I have a misguided approach to its implementation at times, and I think that I have tried to take it to an extreme of wanting to be like I almost want to just be like an android, like to almost like say it flatly. Um, I do not like that I'm like I don't want to say like a victim to my emotions, but like my emotions can be so easily played with. I was watching a video yesterday of a guy in England who he raises gorillas at this like animal sanctuary like type thing or whatever. And then when he raises them, he takes them to Gabon to reintroduce gorillas into the population to try to like save like the endangered species. And after he dropped one of his gorillas off, he waited 5 years to go back to try to find him. He went through the forest for like 3 days to try to find this gorilla. He eventually found him, and like the gorilla came up to him, hugged him, like brought him back together, introduced him to his new family, and all of this kind of stuff. And I got like all teary-eyed. And then when the English guy went to leave from the gorilla, he got into his boat and he like went back up the river. And as he was going back to the river, the gorilla followed him on the bank and made a camp on the other side of this guy's camp to keep trying to stay close and like keeping in contact. And it was something that made me like have my emotions flood back in. It was not Cernovich. I'll look up who it was for you, sarcasm. Um, so I'm trying to bring my emotions back into my life, which is it's always a progress. It's always life is always work, isn't it, Swift?
It's like driving, right? Like when we're driving, we're not just holding a steering wheel in one set spot, right? We're always adjusting a little bit, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
Always adjusting a little bit. We're never in a straight path, but we gotta constantly make minor adjustments to get to our destination. It's the same thing with driving, same thing with life, in my perspective.
Very, very well said. I think that is a great segue to just get to the end and final topic that I had for you, and that is are you writing any books currently? Do
Yes,
you?
I am.
You are. What are you writing?
Yes. Okay, I'm working on it. It's a little ambitious, but I'm working on a handful at a time, actually. Um, so I want to do basically carrying on with sharpening the sword, share another book, fill that kind of information. I'm also working on my first fiction novel,
Oh
which will
shit.
be, yeah,
Is
buddy.
there gonna be a zombie in it?
Yes, there will be zombies in it. Uh, it's gonna be like kind of like a medieval fantasy kind of thing, like dark medieval fantasy. I'm 4 chapters into that. That'll be my first fiction book published. I'm excited for that. Um, I'm working on a book where I accumulate knowledge, tips, expertise, and feedback from the best jujitsu practitioners that I know, and then
Nice.
put it into like a comprehensive index, so to speak, for people. And
Nice.
then I'm also working on a book that I intend to be free. a free ebook. This is just my trying to do something nice,
Okay.
where I want to accumulate as many ways as possible that I know to make money online that have either next to no cost or no cost at all. Like ways for people to
Hmm.
make money online that they don't have to have an investment startup with. As many ways that I know of a lot of ways to make money online that cost fucking nothing to start up with. So I want to kind of create a database of those in an ebook and then just give it away to anybody who wants it.
Nice. Those are really, really awesome ideas. Do you have any kind of timeline as to when one of these might be accomplished? Something's going on with your
All
video
right,
over
I
there.
had a jet flying by.
Okay. Yeah, is there any timeline for when we might be able to read some of these?
The free online book I anticipate having done within 4 to 6 months.
Okay, 4 to 6 months. Nice. Christmas time.
But now that you got me talking about it, my mind is starting to race about it a little bit. I kind of want to work on it, and I kind of want to speed it up now. So
Well, hey, you helped me to do some stuff, so maybe that's how I helped you today. I know that
of course,
I know that this was mostly your conversation and your discourse, but I do hope that you took something from it. Um, I didn't really contribute anything groundbreaking, but it's nice to just have the conversation.
and it's always a fun opportunity to be able to share personal perspectives with others as well.
I very much agree. I hope the people in chat enjoyed today. I know Sarcasm was here for a while, Helen, we had Scarecrow, Weedman, who else came in here? Censored by the EU, Coupe de Jour, Glaring Husky, my first and one of my biggest supporters from the early time, thank you very much. Natomate, Love of God 11 stopped in here for a little while. Who else are we missing? Asgardian came in for a little while, and Weedman started off with the Swift emote. Weedman enjoyed it. Heck yeah, I'm glad that you enjoyed it. Do you have anything that you want to chime in here with Swift Glass?
Yeah, if you guys have any questions, anything you want to bring up, explore further before we part ways, open to it. I blocked off a few hours for this, so don't be shy.
Yeah, I kind of from watching different podcasts and different segments and things, I've kind of assumed that Talks with Touring would be between an hour and 45 minutes and about 2.5 hours. So right now we're actually at 2 hours and 7 minutes since we've been live. I'm not sure if you had like a gauge on like the clock or anything that we've been doing. Um, but this is where I found people can engage. This is where like a little bit you'll start to have like a zoning out, or maybe like the brain isn't as sharp or things like that. So yeah, this I mean you did everything the way that I wanted. You sent me a text message that had 7 or 8 different topics that we could talk about. They didn't have to be in order. That nothing was like pre-planned. Nothing was like scheduled in advance. It was just like two people coming together, wanting to like have an idea, information exchange. And I do not think the first one could have gone any better. I don't think there's any way it could have been better.
Good. I'm glad you enjoyed it, man. Glad episode one's going
Yeah.
aside from the Jets flying by.
Yeah. Well, hey, it's I don't know. It's a look into new technology that's working around you, maybe. Yeah, if nobody else has anything going on, I have a pretty busy day today. I'm trying to get a little sunlight. Liverpool plays Barcelona at 3 p.m. And then I think I'm doing another podcast tonight with the Cynthiad, actually.
Very
Um,
nice.
so I'm kind of getting ready to wind it down, do a raid, and then, yeah, let people go about their days. Is there anything that I'm missing here, Swift?
Nope, that's about it. If I could leave one final parting note with everybody, I'd say look for your opportunities to be the encouragement to somebody else. You'd be shocked. You'll be shocked and pleasantly surprised at how well it's received when you find someone who's put heart and soul into a worthwhile project, and you're the one person who stops by to tell them that you believe in them, that you see their unique attributes, that you believe in them. Look for it. Do it.
This is why you were the first person on the show, because I think that there is probably no more important message that will just be accepted by every person in every country on every side than that. I really think that just that little 30-second clip that you had right there does. I think that it speaks to the entire 2.5 hours that you were talking here. I think it speaks to everything that I've seen of your stream and of like what you try to do, and I think that you live it. I think it's one thing to just like say a little quip and not really practice it. But
Oh
I've
yeah.
seen, but I've seen you encouraging people. I've seen you encourage me. I've seen you help Natomate. I've seen you give other advice to people. I've heard you talk about the mentors. So yeah, I'm thankful for it. I'm 100% thankful for it. That's all that I can really say.
Well, I'm appreciative of you taking the time here to have me on your show and chat and get to know each other a little further. And I look forward to observing the inevitable growth of touring news and the talks here.
I think that they are going to keep to grow. So we are going to raid the Synthiid, who is playing a little bit of Path of Exile right now. Bolsonaro 17. I am not sure what that is. I apologize. I will be around today. I'm going to be watching the Liverpool match. If anybody needs to get in touch with me, you have me. If anybody needs to get in touch with SwiftGlassEater, please make sure to follow him or ask me how you can get in touch with him or just keep out there. He's a person that's going to be useful for resources. He streams during the daytime, just chatting and business. He streams during the nighttime gaming, typically with Vicious Vixen, his wife. Um, I think that that's about all the plugging that I can do. Sharpening the Sword is his book. I'm going to leave this on the backdrop of my desktop for a little while, so you're going to be in control of the background for a little bit, and I will see most of the people in chat later.
All right,
So,
copy that. Great chatting with you, brother. Good chat with everybody else in the chat. I'm glad you guys had a good time. Maybe we'll do it again sometime.
and here goes the raid. So we should be off live in just a little bit here, and then you can tell me how you thought that it went.
That was great, man. You did a great job.